If you die with $100 million in your bank account, but 3 people show up to your funeral, your life was a failure, period. Everybody's like, I wanna make money. No shit. Even at this exact moment, this second, I don't think I'm good, or great, or special.
What are your thoughts on people my age in India? What do you see?
I see me.
Gary, thank you so much for taking out the time. I owe everything I've done in my life, the last 4 years of making content, building my marketing agency, to you and your content. So thank you so much. I'm grateful that you put out the content which I saw in 2019 and 2020 and got started with my journey. I am 23 right now, and most of my audience are people who are in India, people my age who want to make a living doing what they love.
Love it.
And the first question I wanted to ask you was around the skills, right? So you've built multiple multi-million dollar companies. What were the 3 most important skill sets which have helped you out in this whole journey, which a 20-year-old can take and learn from?
Patience. I was just in a meeting with some executives right now, and they were senior executives in my very large marketing company, which is a $350 million a year company. So these are real executives. And I looked at them and said nicely, because that's how I like to roll, I said, look, the difference between you and me is I'm thinking in 27 years, and you're thinking in 27 days. So the reason you're gonna make this mistake that I'm trying to make you avoid, and can you please look at it this way, is because you're thinking in short-term money. When you're as hungry, and I'm very fortunate that I have a very large audience in India as well, and I get a lot of DMs. I also came from a 0 place. I get wanting to get out of where you are financially, but if you take shortcuts and compromise. So number 1, patience. What patience allows you to do is number 2. What is my advice? Always think about the other guy. What's in it for them? I understand that I want to sell VFriends cards. I want to sell them. I want to sell VFriends trading cards. I want everybody in the world to sign up for winetext.com. I want everybody in the world to go to vfriends.com/cards and buy. But why? In this scenario, WineText sells better wine for less money. It's good for Zachary if he wants to have some wine for some dates to buy from WineText. He'll save money and have better wine. Why do I want people to buy this? I believe in the next 50 years that I will build the next Pokemon, and in 20, just like I have a young man from India now saying thank you, I'd like to think in 15 to 20 years, when somebody finds these in a closet, they're gonna be like, I'm glad my dad thought you were cool, GaryVee, because now I have a valuable collectible.
Yeah.
So I think number 2, always think of the other person. You've probably already learned this, that the reason your channel's doing well is you're trying to bring them value. You work your way into this office to bring value for your audience. It's gonna be good for you, but it's gonna be good for them.
Absolutely.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And number 3, I really think this is an interesting one, humility. I think one of the biggest reasons I'm successful is, even at this exact moment, this second, I don't think I'm good or great or special. Even with these accolades, with the admiration, with watching youngsters in my organization grow from admiration and respect from me, I don't think I'm special. I think I am aware that I'm talented. I mean, number 4 is practice. I started selling things and building businesses when I was 6 years old. By the time I was 22 and running my father's liquor store, I was a veteran. You can see my report card up there. I was a terrible student. I just always worked, always worked, always worked. In the famous words of Allen Iverson, the great basketball players, practice. In his scenario, I understand. In my world, you play forever as an entrepreneur, not like an athlete. You need to take care of your body, but it's different. Like practice, practice, practice. Get good at something. Everybody's like, I want to make money. No shit, but get good at something.
What do you think of people in India who are like hustling, 20-year-olds? What are your thoughts on people my age in India? What do you see?
I see me. You know, I got very lucky. I grew up in a town called Edison, New Jersey. Indian Americans, they may know this. This was the capital of Indian immigration in America in 1986, 7, 8, 9. I was the immigrant in 1982, 3, 4, 5 in the town of Edison. I was born in Soviet Union. Everybody else was white and black and Asian kids that grew up in America. And then in 5th, 6th grade, all of a sudden, all these kids, everybody's last name was Patel, but they weren't directly related. It was super cool. And they were new kids and they were immigrants. And a lot of the other kids stayed away from them, but I leaned in because what I saw was kids that wanted to make money. You know, they wanted to sell baseball cards. They wanted to, like when I would go outside and it would snow, most of the kids would want to go build a snowman. Me and Raji Patel, we would go and fucking ring doorbells and shovels. We worked. And then I watched them all get into baseball cards like me. The biggest difference between me and those kids was they were also getting straight A's. I was getting D's and F's. But, you know, look, I've always, and this is why I think India is my second biggest market. I think my relationship with people in India and Indian Americans, there's a connection there. And then something else happened. I also became one of the people that most talked about, don't listen to your parents and don't become a doctor, lawyer, and engineer if it's not in your heart.
Yeah.
And that also spoke to an entire generation of Indian entrepreneurs. I feel a very strong kinship towards it.
Yeah. The most important video I've watched of yours multiple times is the one in which you give this quote, and that is, how you make your money is more important than how much you make. Why is that important?
Look, because I think when you're 20, you don't think about your life at 40 or 60 or 80. If you're not a man or woman of principle, if you don't have good relationships, if you die with $100 million in your bank account, but 3 people show up to your funeral, your life was a failure. Period. So yes, I think having relationships and having love and having peace of mind and lacking anxiety and having joy and not worrying about, you know, being lonely and having a family and having friends, I think that matters more than making money. I think making money and being a businessman and woman, that's great, but don't compromise.
Yeah, you've hired so many people at VaynerMedia. What do you think what is the mindset that these people have which helps them to level up a lot in your company?
I think there's different versions. I think some are very entrepreneurial and want to become like me and stay here for 7 years and go do their own thing. I love that. I think other people have found a leader they believe in, catch a tiger by the tail, and they understand the standard that I'm looking for in return for the wonderful position that I think I'm creating, that I work very hard to create, and then I'm also need to be accountable and make sure I am delivering on that. So I think there's 2 versions. The one that comes in and wants to win here and then build off of that for their own world, or the one that realizes they don't want to be an entrepreneur. They're happy being a number 2, a number 7, a number 49. And I think their work ethic and their humanity is what gets them to the upper echelons of here.
Yeah, one question I had was that for all the people who are watching this, if you were in my shoes today, what business would you be starting in 2024? Would it still be wine.com?
The one that is around the subject matter that you love the most. So if you love cricket the most, if you love food the most, if you love hip hop the most, if you love apparel the most, whatever you have the most passion for at this young of an age with this much talent, that's what you should do, because you will like it more and you'll work harder for it.